So the neighbor that is also having his rice field here, he is not able to produce water to flood his rice field with water, and therefore it looks more naked and more brown and more sad, because he's not able to give the water that the rice needs. My wife says that the rice should be flooded right now, but because of lack of rain this year, there is no flooding happening. And I'm now walking down to the second and the third, the first and the second field. You had the picture of this outlet from the other side of the grass field. And now I'm walking down towards the field where we had the cows, the buffaloes, to walk around in the field. And our neighbor, they said they would come and cut more grass and more rice. And when you look at it, it really has been cut today. And here you see the overflow water from our water system. And you can hear the water coming out slowly but surely. When you look over there, you can see we have a container, blue container, that we used for the buffaloes to come and drink water. But they really needed a lot of water. So what we have come up with is that we visited a farm last weekend where we saw how they created channels around the field, so that when they want to sow the rice and overflow the field with water, then they would overflow the channels, not to take water from the channels, but to pour more water into the channels, so that there would become an overflow. So we are thinking about doing that in those 3 fields that we are using for rice right now. That presumably we will continue to do that. 1 rice field, 2 fields, 4 fields, not 3 but 4. And you can see after we cut this field that the green has returned. The green of the rice has really increased. Also, we did put some fertilizer into it, and that is what we need to do here. But we need to get those containers up and working, up and running, so that we can produce the fertilizer that we need. The cows did not receive any grassing time, so they should not have seed in the dung that they produce. So we should not need to keep that same amount of time for killing the seed of the weed that can be in the cow dung, but it's more in the buffalo dung. And I believe that a lot of this grass that we have here comes from the buffaloes. But then again, we are not the only one with this grass problem. A lot of fields in this region are having the same problem with grass growing up amongst the weed, and the same kind of grass. But when I look upon this amount of water that we have here, it's a lot more than we have had for a long time. So somehow it is working what we are doing, because we have been putting a lot of water into this field for a long time, and therefore that can be that the soil is more full of water than it used to be. But as you can see over here, you have some shrubs and trees. That is the other side of this field. So it's a fairly big field for a Thai field. A lot of fields that I see along the way when I go somewhere on a motorbike, they are a lot smaller than this one, because, and my wife even talked about she wants to make it smaller because it would be easier for her to flood the field. I don't completely agree with that, because it will just make the flooding in small areas instead of the whole area. Of course, the small area can't be full, but it needs for us to have the canals to be separated between the fields, the smaller areas that she will produce. So I think she has left that idea, but I'm not sure. As you might find out, what I'm doing today is making a lot of videos to show you what I'm thinking about and what our challenges are and how it is working with our solar panel pump systems that we have over the fields. And as you can see, there is a problem to get into the fields when we have the valve in the middle of the field. It's difficult to get to them and pull a tube, a hose from the valve and down the field. So I have come to the conclusion that I need to put the valve in at the dike instead of in the middle of the field. Where did I put it? Well, it is down there somewhere in the middle of the trees. But by putting it on up against the dike or on top of the dike, I will be able to bring the water hose down the field and then to have the sprinkler to sprinkle water over the whole area. And in this way, 2 times, it should be enough to fill the whole area with water. But we're going to see that. But because we didn't have money to cover the rice straw from last year's harvest, we have been wasting a lot of buffalo food. Here you see another valve, and it's a bit of a distance from the dikes, and therefore it is a little bit more difficult for us to spray water into the area. Of course, when you are down at the other grass area, as you see, I enter the main gate that I put up here instead of barbed wires. I hate these barbed wire stuff. It's tearing the clothes and making it difficult to come in, and people that wants to come in, they can come in anyway. So I don't see why we should do that like that. And you know, this is really, I don't know what is going on here. What in the whole world has been put here to make that dry and die? To my understanding, we have a mixture of Lucy and Guinea grass in this area, and here you have the last of the hoses coming in that are 8, 10, 12 meters away from this dike, but even longer away from that dike. And then it would be going down in the middle of the field. But because the field is a little bit bigger and there is a lot of cracks and grooves in the field, the water does not go out into the whole field like I thought it would do. So we have to sprinkle water through the whole area. And here you can see how we are at one end of the field, and down there you can see what we call the forest, or 10 trees. But the trees are huge and very covering of sunshine, shady. But of course shady does also mean that it takes away a lot of the water and nutrition in the soil. So we have to redo all that. But I believe it is good to have it when we have the company to come and drill the well for us. They did one down here. You can see the blue in the background, and they drilled here more than 40 meters down. But over there they drill only 36 meters down. So the forest is really pulling water up to make it easier for us to access the water. But now we have to be able to utilize this even better than we have done before. And we really believe that we're getting ideas how to do that. So here we go again. Finishing for now.